Hello, my wonderful students and chemistry lovers. Today I'm going to talk to you about hybridization. My name is Dr. Lotanna Okwesili, and I'm going to serve as your guide today in this interesting lecture and conversation. Okay? So when you talk about hybridization, you are talking about how atomic orbitals mix or combine to generate a set of new atomic orbitals called hybrid orbitals. Okay? And hybrid orbitals are essentially made or formed when two or more what we call non-equivalent orbitals of the same atom mix or combine to produce equal number of equivalent orbitals. Okay, so we have the sp3 hybrid orbitals, we have the sp2 hybrid orbitals, we have the sp hybrid orbitals, and of course we have sp3d kind of hybridization, and so on and so forth. So when you are combining one s orbital with three p orbitals, you are going to make what? sp3 hybrid orbitals. If you are combining an s orbital with two p orbitals, you are going to make sp2 hybrid orbitals. If you are combining an s orbital with a p orbital, you are going to make sp hybrid orbital. And if you are combining three orbitals now, that is one s orbital, three p orbitals, and 1d orbitals, you are going to make what we call sp3d hybridization or hybrid orbitals, and so on and so forth. Recall in my previous lectures, I talked about how the valence bond theory failed to explain the chemical bonding or covalent bonding in simple molecules like methane, ethene, ethyne, across the homologous series, and so on and so forth. Hybridization helps us to understand the chemical bonding in these simple molecules. And for us to appreciate the chemical bonding in these simple molecules I just mentioned, the first point of call is for us to understand hybridization of carbon atom. All right? Nice. Recall that carbon has the atomic number of 6 with the electronic configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p2, or 1s2, 2s2, 2px1, and 2py1. This is carbon in the ground state. This is carbon that we know. In the ground state, in room temperature, okay, you have 1s2, 2s2, 2ps1, 2py1. This is basic, okay? But in the course of hybridization, the first point of call is for one of the two s electrons to be promoted to occupy, all right, the 2pz orbital, and that gives rise to what we call the excited state of carbon. You can see that here one of the electrons that was here has been promoted and now occupies the 2pz orbitals. Okay, so the first stage or step in hybridization is the excitation of carbon, which involves the promotion of one of the two s electrons to occupy one of the 2p vacant orbital, in this case 2pz orbital. It is very essential we understand this. Again, if we want to look at carbon, all right, I'm going to use the energy level diagram now to explain something. If you have, recall that electrons interact, or atoms interact with other atoms using their valence electrons in the atom shell. So I'm not going to be, even as much as I know we have one s orbital, we have two s orbital, and then we have the 2p orbitals, which is 3, okay? But of course, this is filled, and this is K shell, so it doesn't get involved in chemical combination. This 2 is L shell. So I'm going to do away with it. In representing all of these things, the orbital diagram will not be involving the 1s electron. It's the inner core electron, and it doesn't get involved in the covalent combination. All right, nice. So let's look at again the carbon in the ground state first. Let's see if we can appreciate something. If this is your carbon in the ground state, okay, remember we have a 1s2 inside. This 1s2 is inside. We are not showing it. We're only showing these 2, okay? So the 2s orbital, okay, rather, this is carbon. Again, this is carbon in the ground state. Okay, nice. If you look at it, what, nothing is here, no electron is here. What this is trying to tell us, valence bond theory help us to appreciate this. What this is trying to tell us is that if there is hydrogen somewhere, for instance, it can bring this is electron and make a bond here, and another hydrogen from somewhere can bring one of its electron and make a bond here. So it's limiting carbon to having the ability of forming only two covalent bonds, and that's wrong. Okay, so this is what valence bond theory told us, but it's limited. So hybridization is bringing in another dimension in the explanation of how carbon makes four bonds, okay, with other atoms to form different of these simple molecules. And what they are telling us is that during hybridization, it always starts, the first point of call during hybridization is that one of these electrons in the lower orbital gets promoted. Excitation happens as introduced perhaps heat or electricity to a system. Okay, so when during hybridization, one of the s orbitals jumps up. When the atom is excited, it jumps up to occupy. Okay, of course, this is x, this is y, and z. So if we do that, that means this is gone. So in the excited state of carbon, okay, this is what you have. Okay, so this represents the excited state of carbon, and this, exactly as I said, is the first process, the principal process that will help us to understand what happens in hybridization. Nice. And when this happens, okay, recall this is an s orbital and these are what? P orbitals. And we said whenever you combine one s orbital, okay, with three p orbitals, you are going to have what we call the sp3 hybrid orbital. This is very, very critical, because if we say, okay, now carbon has been excited, let's try and make bond again. Okay, yes, carbon can make four bonds now, especially with atoms like hydrogen, but you will discover one anomaly. Okay, now watch, let's assume we have hydrogen. Of course, it has one electron. It comes, brings that electron here and makes one covalent bond. All right, so this is carbon, for instance. It makes one covalent bond. Okay, let's assume another hydrogen is here, brings its electron. Of course, it makes another covalent bond here. Okay, it makes another covalent bond here. Okay, another hydrogen can do the same. Another atom of hydrogen can bring its electron and it makes another covalent bond here. Okay, makes another covalent bond here. Okay, nice. And another hydrogen as well can bring its electron and make another covalent bond here. Okay, yes, we have been able to explain or show that carbon not only can make two covalent bonds, but it can even make four covalent bonds, especially in the excited state of carbon. But the problem here is this, is that understand that these energy levels are different. This is increasing energy level. The s orbital is lower in energy. Perhaps it's closer to the nucleus of the atom. Am I communicating? While the 2p orbital is higher in energy, and perhaps it's more farther away from the nucleus. So the length of the orbital that this hydrogen atom will make, okay, with this s orbital is going to perhaps be shorter. It's going to make a shorter bond. The bonds can never be equivalent. Yes, these three orbitals can make equal or equivalent bonds, covalent bonds with the hydrogen, but it can never be the same with this particular orbital. Okay, so you are going to, at the end of the day, going to have perhaps three longer bonds and one short bond. And in reality, this cannot depict the correct representation of the structure of methane. The structure of a methane is that you have four equivalent bonds, covalent bonds. They have to be equivalent. They have to be the same. Nice. All right. So this will help me to, lay the foundation of what we are talking about. So permit me to delete this and show you why we are doing, or why we have hybridization, the impact of hybridization or the need of hybridization. That is what we are trying to explore. All right, so back here we have our 2p. Beautiful. Remember, we are mixing one s orbital with 3p orbitals. We are going to make what? We are going to make sp3 orbitals, hybrid orbitals. Again, just like I said in my last lecture, if you are mixing 4 orbitals, you are going to make 4 hybrid orbitals. All right? If you are mixing 2 atomic orbitals, you are going to make 2 hybrid orbitals. Why? Because the number of orbitals again are conserved. Very, very important. The number of orbitals are what? Conserved. So if this is x, this is y, and this is z. So again, in the excited state, carbon, this is carbon, this is carbon, and this is carbon. Permit me to distance this a bit so that we can better appreciate it. All right. So this is carbon in the excited state. Now, we are mixing one s orbital with these 3p orbitals. We are going to definitely make 4 sp3 orbitals. 4 sp3 orbitals. Why? Because we told you the number of orbitals you are mixing will equal the number of orbitals you create. But the interesting thing is that you are mixing these particular orbitals are not equivalent with this. They are not of equal energy. So you are mixing 2 non-equivalent orbitals, okay? 2 or more non-equivalent orbitals to make equivalent orbitals. Then what we are trying to say is that the 4 sp3 orbitals we are going to make are going to be of equal energy. We call them degenerate orbital. The question is, the 4 new sp3 orbitals we are going to make, where are they going to lie towards in the energy level diagram? Are they going to lean towards the p orbitals or the s orbitals? Just like in biotechnology, where we are doing crossbreeding of animals. You bring this Caucasian dog and bring this kind of species of dog. When you mix them, you are trying to bring certain properties or attributes of this animal and mix it with certain attributes of this animal to get a more economically viable product. Am I right? So that crossbred animal, breeded animal, is going to have some attributes of this species, some attributes of this species. Nice. So in hybrid orbitals, we're expecting to make 4 sp3 hybrid orbitals. But the question is, this hybrid orbitals is it going to, in terms of energy level, is it going to be closer to the s orbital or closer to the p orbital? Your guess is as good as mine. If you look at it, you discover that this is 1:3. If you get, there is one, have you seen it? We have 1 s orbital, but 3 orbitals, but 3 p orbitals. So it's 1:3. All right? Essentially, everything is over 100%. So if you say 1 plus 3 is equal to 4, everything is 100%. So in terms of the percentage of attributes of each of these, what you are going to say, you say 100 divided by 4 will give us 25%. Okay? Nice. So that means that these new orbitals we are going to make is going to have 25% S attribute. Of course, what is remaining here is 75%. So it's going to have 75% of what? Of the P attributes. So definitely you can see that in terms of strength, that the P species has more strength. So it will have more dominance in terms of pulling the new hybrid orbitals to itself. What am I trying to say? What we are trying to say is that the 4 new sp3 hybrid orbitals will be closer to the 2p orbitals, not farther away from the s orbital. Why? Because of what I just explained. It has more p attributes than the s attributes. So you have an sp3 orbital. Permit me to clean all of this, to draw it well. Okay? So here, now, somewhere here, you're going to have this, this, and this. So this is an sp3 orbital, this is an sp3 orbital, this is an sp3 orbital, this is an sp3 orbital. Nice. Beautiful. And again, you pull the electrons and place them like this, like this, like this. So beautifully. You see it? So if hydrogen wants to make a bond now, hydrogen, 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 hydrogen. Of course, hydrogen in the 1s orbital will have one electron, so 1s, 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 1s. So you see it. So this hydrogen can mix with this, okay, with this hybridized carbon, all right, or hybrid orbitals of this carbon, to make an equivalent bond. This again can mix, this again can mix with this again can combine with this. At the end of the day, you see that it's going to give you a molecule like methane with equal length of the bonds. No one is non-equivalent again. You see, this is non-equivalent with this, but the hybrid orbitals are of equal energy, so they're equivalent. So they can make equivalent kind of covalent bonds. Beautiful. So that is what hybridization is explaining to us. Again, remember that the number of orbitals you mix will give you exactly equal number of hybrid orbitals you form. Why? Because number of orbitals are what? Conserved. Nice. So this is about sp3 hybridization. Okay, so how about sp2 hybridization? How about sp2 hybridization? In sp2 hybridization, okay, you are mixing one orbital, okay, one s orbital with two p orbitals. So this is 1:2. Again, if you take it in terms of percentage, this will be 33% attribute, and this will be 67% p attribute. Did you see it? Nice. So again, where is the, since we are mixing, watch, we are mixing now one s orbital with these two orbitals. That means one will remain unused or unmixed. One of the orbitals, which is the p2pz orbital, will remain where it is. So at the end of the day, I've told you, you have you have 33%, okay, character, and in terms of p, you have 67p attributes or character, right? So we are looking at the hybrid orbitals going again close, okay, but not as close as the former one. It will be somewhere here, all right? How many orbitals are we mixing? 1, 2, 3, all right? So we're going to have 1, 2, 3. This is an sp2 hybrid orbital. This is an sp2 hybrid orbital. This is an sp2 hybrid orbital. At the end of the day, this one is unhybridized. It was not used. We mixed this and these two. So this one will still be at the energy level where it is. This is still 2pz orbital, okay? So when, again, this in terms of percentage, because this is 2 against 1. So you see that it has this particular hybrid orbital, we have what? 33% S attribute, okay, and more of the P attribute. So the 3 hybrid orbitals, remember the number of hybrid orbitals or orbitals are conserved. So if you are mixing 1 S orbital and 2 P orbitals, you are going to make 3 sp2 hybrid orbitals. Nice. And you see those hybrid orbitals will be close to the 2p orbitals, okay, and a bit further away again from the s orbital. And of course, you have the z2pz orbital still where it is because it was not used in the combination. Again, you distribute the electrons like this, okay? So here you have okay, 3 sp2 hybrid, okay, orbitals, okay, and you have 1 unhybridized p orbital, 1 unhybridized p orbital, okay? Pay attention to this. In the next lecture, I'm going to explain certain things to you. Just know that hybrid orbitals are used to make sigma bonds, while the unhybridized orbitals are used in making pi bonds. I will explain it in the next lecture. Nice. So this is for sp2 hybridization. You can see that we are using the electronic configuration of carbon in the excited state to demonstrate sp3 hybridization, now sp2 hybridization. Let us see if we can demonstrate sp hybridization. sp hybridization. Nice. This is beautiful. All right. So again, let's start with, we are dealing with sp hybridization now. Hybridization. sp hybridization. Nice. So again, let's bring back our excited state, excited carbon atom. Okay, you have this, fantabulous. You have this in your Z. Okay, nice. Again, we are starting from the excited carbon. Now this time, sp means we have an s orbital combining with a p orbital. Okay, so you see it is 1:1. So that means it has 50% ps attributes, okay, and 50% what? P attributes. So we are going to make two sp2 hybrid orbitals. Why? Because we are using one from here, one from here. If you are combining 1 and 2 orbitals, we are going to make two sp hybrid orbitals. And because it's 50%, 50%, in terms of the energy level, it will be exactly at the center. The distance between the p, and because both of them, have equal strength, so it will be exactly this sp and this sp hybrid orbital will be exactly at the center in terms of the energy level. Nice. But recall that when we combine this, we combine one of the s orbital to one of the two p orbitals. Remember, we still have our what? Our y and z of the two p orbitals unhybridized, so they will remain in their level. Okay, so you have your 2p y and 2p z. Okay, beautiful. So while you have the new hybrid orbitals, you also have two unhybridized orbitals. So here you have what? What do you have now? You have two sp hybrid orbitals. Hybrid orbitals. Okay, and you have what? You have 2p unhybridized orbitals. Nice. Again, recall I said it a few minutes ago, but first let's place the electrons. The electrons will now be like this. Okay, you see it? We have the two sp hybrid orbitals, and we have the what? 2py, we have the 2p unhybridized orbital. It is important to mention it again that the hybridized orbitals are used to make sigma bond, while the unhybridized orbitals are used to make pi bonds. We're going to lay more emphasis on this in the next lecture, where I'm going to go ahead and begin to show you how covalent bonds are made using the concept of hybridization in simple molecules like methane, okay, ethene, and of course ethane. These are critical if you must understand certain aspects of organic chemistry. Thank you. I don't know if you enjoyed this lecture. What I want you to do is that click on the like button, click on the love button, invite your friends to be part of this, and share this video so that as many students as possible can learn from what we are doing in chemistry. Until the next time, stay safe. Bye.